Hello, everyone. Although there are a million things I could talk about right now, I feel I need to focus on the latest shooting, the Texas shooting, and how it's being portrayed as, the next big Reichstag moment. A very smart person said, I saw online today, there's like a Reichstag moment once a week now. Yeah. And that's how they treat it, like it's some big turning point. That there's some big new rising wave of left-wing violence. I'm not seeing any of that. I can't believe the Atlantic, Jeff Goldberg allowed an article to even put that idea forth. This wave of left-wing violence, fucking where? Where? What are fuck are we talking about? Again, the guy that shot at Donnie, who we know hardly anything about, they don't even want to talk about it, which makes it kind of obvious what it was. Wasn't a liberal at all whatsoever. White kid, killed before anyone got a chance to talk to him, conveniently. The guy that shot Charlie Kirk, white kid, registered independent when he was registered as a voter. From the woods, parents are MAGA. Alleged transgender roommate we've never seen. There's a name out there now. I don't even remember it. I might have it here. I can't remember. Does it matter? The question is, does the transgender roommate even fucking exist? Those text messages, are they even remotely real? Because they way over the top, man. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to focus on this latest shooting. And this is how it was played. This is like the first bits I saw about it, and then we'll get to the actual truth of what happened. So this is the puppy killer Kristi Noem here. There was a shooting this morning at Dallas ICE field office. Details are still emerging, but we can confirm there were multiple injuries and fatalities. The shooter is deceased by a self-inflicted gunshot wound, so we can't talk to him either. That's very convenient again. And I'm noticing they're trying to portray that all kinds of ICE facilities are being attacked. I'm not seeing that or buying that either. And I'm really wondering how this attack happened. Again, is it some just random fucking dude that feels like doing this? Or is there more to it? Because these are very strange situations here. The Kirk thing and this. And the Donnie shooting, all of it. Well, we don't know the motive yet. Let me speculate. No. We know that our ICE law enforcement is facing unprecedented violence against them. It must stop. Really? The guys in massive machine guns that are kidnapping people, they're the ones facing violence. Again, reality inversion. Please pray for the victims and their families. Notice Miss Noem doesn't say that any ICE people were harmed. She really wants to portray that, though. She'd love to say that. I'm amazed she didn't. So that was kind of the opener of turning nothing into something for them. In other words, turning an incident that really doesn't fit the narrative into a Reichstag moment where, oh, it's a turn. We got to crack the fuck down, and what they already intended to do anyway. All this is theater. This whole plan of deploying the military and subjugating us the way it's playing out, planned before any of this. This is all theater to justify. Just like the Nazis, Hitler had a plan. He executed it slowly over time, and they justified it in this manner, and they inverted reality. the exact same way. Why is it the exact same way? Because the people up at the top here that are running things, all the way up to Donnie, they believe it. They believe the Nazi doctrine. That they into it. They like it. They believe it. They trying to turn America into it. They've done a pretty good job so far. Since, you gave them the keys back. But again, I digress. Let's get back to the shooting. Let me stop. Now, this is the FBI giving their, message about it. And honestly, at this point, I trust nothing the Reich says. What I can share with you is that the early evidence we're seeing from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recently example of this type of attack. So here we go again. Bullets engraved or inscribed or whatever. So this is, are we like our third or fourth one here? Where bullets have a message on them. That's suspect right there. That gives me pause right there. Like, no, this isn't becoming trend. Someone wants a narrative, and it's awful convenient when the cops show up. And your motives are written right on the bullets, right? Real convenient. This phrase right here. Some of the messages on the bullets, some are anti-ICE in nature. Okay, you're describing a kind of message. The person wrote things that are anti-ICE. The person did not write anti-ICE. That's what I assumed when I heard this. Okay, they wrote, anti-ICE sentiment on the bullets. Wait till you see, if you haven't already, what was written. My God, are they even trying anymore? I guess they don't have to. Again, there was a plan. They were going to execute it no matter what. This is just an excuse. Anti-ICE in nature. Remember that. Now Ted Cruz hops on it. He's on the scene all of a sudden. Mr. Cancun Cruz, who flees at every, situation. See, this is suspicious right here. Ted never hops on a shooting like this. Ted Cruz is now speaking at the press conference in Dallas and suggesting the rhetoric critical of ICE and Democrats calling Republicans fascist is responsible for the shooting today in an ICE facility, despite there being no evidence of this. Just like the Nazis, inverting reality. You have your military deployed on your streets. I don't care where you're from. This entire country is yours. We're all Americans here. If they deploy the military on one set of streets for no reason other than to set a precedent for a dictatorship, that should bother you as well, even if you live in Nebraska and they deploy them in Cali. Because that means it could come to you too. If you were smart, you'd understand that and care about that and proceed accordingly and vote accordingly. But you did not. Some of you. You know who I'm talking to. Again, Ted Cruz automatically turning it into the left is doing something wrong, demonizing the guys in masks with machine guns that are rounding people up. Do you understand how absurd that concept is? We have concentration camps now. Military deployed on our own streets. For no reason other than it's going to be a dictatorship. That's what he's telling you, son. Had a Nazi salute on Inauguration Day. Look, they're all old men and some women that were raised on this shit. Nazism, I mean. They believe it, son. Be prepared. So again, the rhetoric towards the actual fascist system we're watching fucking unfold isn't the fucking problem. The problem is the dictatorship they're building, and it's obvious. And the criminality, and the bribes being taken, and the grifts being run as the economy fucking tanks. But hey, the Dow's good. I'm sure you got a nice investment portfolio, right? Again, automatically turning it into the left did this without any knowledge about the person, why they did it, if they're just sick in the head, whatever. Automatically, Reichstag moment we gotta have. This pattern over and over again. Inscribe bullets again. Kash Patel released a photo of recovered cartridges from the Dallas ICE shooting engraved with anti-ICE, that's in quotes. Patel said the attack, which killed one detainee, wounded several others before the gunman took his own life, showed an ideological motive. Really? So they're running with that again, something written on the bullets, and I'm going to blow it up and show you the bullets. It looks like it's written in Sharpie or something. That was my first thought. I'm like, did Donnie write this himself? And what it actually says on the bullet, I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well. One bullet has a message on it. Now, the FBI, when they did their press conference, some of the rounds had anti-ICE sentiment. Okay, that's normal. You know, fuck ICE, whatever. You know, what a normal person would say. The bullet says literally anti-ICE. ANTI -ICE. My jaw dropped when I saw this. A normal statement from the FBI. Some of the bullets, rounds, had messages that reflected, you know, anti-ICE sentiment. That's a normal statement, I get it. So what were the messages? Fuck ICE, I hate ICE. Anti-ICE. And it looks like it's written in fucking Sharpie, son. Anyone could have thrown that bullet in there. Anyone could have planted that little fucking thing. I mean, and just when I saw this, I'm like, damn, they ain't even trying anymore. They wrote anti-ICE on it. As the FBI, before we see this, there was anti-ICE sentiment on some of the cartridges. No, you mean they wrote anti-ICE on the bullet, literally. I don't know, man. Look, this shit is getting real bizarre. And they keep running with the same story about these people. And almost every time, it's just a white kid. Not a leftist in any way. And it really feels like, to me, you know, they're trying to build a real narrative where ICE facilities are getting attacked, yet only detainees were killed, and I believe 2 were killed, and 1 is, you know, on death's door. No agents, ICE people got a scratch fucking on them. And I know the Rubes and everybody, you're going to say he missed, right? And hit the detainees. No, I don't fucking think so. Anti-ICE, that's the best they could come up with, son. Anti-ICE. When I saw this, I was like, again, these aren't creative people. And I thought to myself, I know they're stupid. But man, they think we're really fucking stupid. But honestly, they don't really care how convincing the narrative is, just like Adolf back in his day. Everyone in the populace knows it's bullshit. Yet it proceeded anyway. As simply theater and a justification for what he already intended to do. In other words, it would have happened no matter what. With the theater, without the theater. That's what Stephen Miller, Donnie, Leon, all of them, that's all they do, all day. Put this theater on for us, for an agenda and a plan they already, intended to do anyway. And this just feels really off to me. Anti-ice written on a bullet. And again, it looks like it's a pen or Sharpie or fucking... What the fuck, man? Here's the couch fucker. I'm trying to give you like the way they portrayed it right off the bat. No info, nothing. Just automatically Reichstag. Liberals are evil. The left did it. The narrative for the agenda they already planned. And JD knows the agenda. He's down with all of them. Peter Thiel's bitch. The obsessive attack on law enforcement, particularly ICE, must stop. Well, it wasn't really an attack on law enforcement. Only detainees died. But hey, who needs facts or the truth, right? They got a narrative and a right to build, son. I'm praying for everyone hurt in this attack and for their families. Okay. Noam again explaining the shooting. She can confirm multiple injuries and fatalities. Well, thanks. That's great. All right, Patel, here's his version. This morning, just before 7 a.m. local time, an individual fired multiple rounds at a Dallas, Texas ICE facility, killing one, wounding several others before taking his own life. FBI, DHS, ATF are on the ground with Dallas PD and state authorities. While the investigation is ongoing, an initial review of the evidence shows, and here's the point, an ideological motive behind this attack. See photo below. I guess that was the bullets, right? Where it said anti-ICE. I don't know what to write, man. How about anti-ICE? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, go ahead. One of the unspent shell casings recovered, one of them, was engraved with the phrase anti-ICE. More updates will be forthcoming. Engraved, you say, because it really looked like someone just wrote it the fuck on there. But again, it's not the clearest picture. Maybe, some engraving took place. I don't know. Anti-ICE. That's the big message, huh? That's the big evidence. And just one bullet in the stack. These despicable, politically motivated attacks against law enforcement are not a one-off. We're only miles from Prairie Land, Texas, where just 2 months ago an individual ambushed a separate ICE facility targeting their officers. Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying any of these ICE attack stories after this anti-ICE thing today. Well, it's tomorrow now. Sorry for the lateness. I have to eat. I'm sorry. Yeah, again, they're trying to build this narrative that ICE facilities are being attacked. Again, no ICE officers were injured, not a scratch. So it seems like, in this case, that only immigrants were attacked. Right? Right. So this doesn't seem to be an attack on law enforcement. If I heard this story, only detainees were killed, maybe some type of closet racist or whatever, and he just wanted to kill a few illegal immigrants or detain ex-visa holders. Because again, a lot of people had status taken away. Thought they were here legit, had a visa, whatever, had protected status from the government, a refugee, whatever. That was taken from a lot of people. All at once. Anti-ice is the best they could. That is astounding to me. The FBI is refusing to say whether the people who were killed today in an ICE facility in Dallas were detainees, but they're confirming that no law enforcement officials were injured. Yes, that was at this press conference again, the FBI, because they didn't want to say out loud, son, because it doesn't fit the Reich's narrative. Doesn't fit the Reichstag moment. And the Reichstag fire was a fire Hitler and his people set and used as a justification for martial law and other things. That's what the Reich's doing here with these attacks and shootings. Everything's meant to be a Reichstag moment where they crack down further and bring their Nazi utopia further into our fucking faces. So the FBI did not want to say out loud that only detainees were killed or shot. Doesn't fit the narrative, son. We're trying to build a Reich here. That info doesn't help. You know the actual fucking truth. That's what's dying here as well. I don't know if you noticed. I know most of you don't care. That's fucking obvious. Out there in America land. That's dying along with the empire. The truth. The truth is wrong now. Good is wrong. According to MAGA and the new, MAGA speak, Rube speak, 1984 world they think will never touch them. How wrong, have some of the farmers, business owners, government workers that got shit canned by Leon and his chainsaw. How about the big balls beat up? Remember that? That was meant to be a Reichstag moment, and it was. The military got deployed in D.C. a few days later. When the most famous Doge person happened to get beat up on a street. Very convenient for the Reich, huh? This is a random commenter. Let me get this fucking straight. Some motherfucker shoots 2 ICE detainees and kills himself. But according to MAGA, he writes Antifa on the bullets and was actually targeting ICE but missed. No, actually he wrote anti-ICE, which is even worse than writing Antifa. If that's the story you want to present to people. They're both horrible. Both are just such transparent, clear panes of glass that you see right through and you really feel like, yeah, they really think we're stupid, don't they? I would feel that same thing if Antifa was written on one of the bullets, because Antifa doesn't fucking exist. They've given up on trying not to sound like fucking morons anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, they don't really care anyway. They have this agenda they're going to implement, and nothing's going to stop it, unfortunately. Nothing's stopped it so far. And there's troops on the streets of D.C., so yeah, we're just going to see ridiculous theater after ridiculous theater by the Reich as they take more and more away, as they kill the truth further, as the seals clap, as the empire ends. Yeah, it's basically, look, what they're saying, what I'm saying, it's not a very believable story here. It's getting a bit ridiculous with these things. Try and be more creative with your subjugation stories, your Reichstag moments. Aaron Rupar, a Reichstag fire, but one of them every week. Yep. Yep. Lance Twiggs, Tyler Robinson's transgender lover, has disappeared from the Utah townhouse they both shared after cooperating with authorities. Here's the picture. Now we have a name. This picture's been going around. Again, are we going to see this person? Do they actually exist? Because now the story is they've disappeared. And those text messages were not very believable. So again, does this transgender lover person, roommate person, actually fucking exist or not? Because now they've disappeared. Okay, now let's read the actual facts of what happened. Dude was 29 years old, Joshua John. The official could not publicly disclose details of the investigation, spoke condition of anonymity. Exact motivation was not immediately known. Patel posted a photo on social media showing a bullet found at the scene with anti-ice written on it. Very creative. That's why these people weren't poets. And these are some quick facts. Shooting at Texas ICE facility kills 2 detainees and seriously injures another. Well, there's no ICE victims here. 3 people have died, including the attacker, after a shooting by a sniper at an immigration facility in Texas. 2 detainees were killed, 3rd in critical condition. That's from Homeland Security. No U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement were injured, says Homeland Security. The gunman died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Wow. So the only leftist thing we got is anti-ice. That's it, on 1 bullet. Okay. In an earlier interview, Noah, that's his brother, told NBC News that his brother was not particularly political and did have strong feelings about ICE. And didn't have strong feelings about ICE as far as I knew. John's voter info shows he was not registered to a party, so he was independent. So his own brother says, I didn't hear, he never conveyed to me that he didn't like ICE. And he wasn't really political. That doesn't fit the narrative either, does it? Of a left-wing psycho with blue hair. And what also doesn't fit the narrative is only detainees were killed. No ICE person got a scratch on him. And again, are we supposed to believe the shooter missed or something? I don't know, man. Nothing is fitting into the narrative except that 1 bullet with anti-ice written on it. Nothing. His own brother saying, yeah, he wasn't really political. And he never expressed any anti-ICE sentiment to me. And we're at the end here. And we're going to end with Noel Kassler. And I thought the same thing. We shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we have an FBI director who rushes to post a tweet from an active investigation and a fake-ass looking pic of some bullets with what looks like a Sharpie writing on them. That's what I said when I saw it. My first thought, did they write that in Sharpie? Did Donnie write that himself? What the fuck is this? Noel saying the same thing. With what looks like Sharpie writing on them, not engraved, and thinks that ideological is spelled ideological. I miss having a serious country. So I didn't look at the spelling. of Patel's tweet. Is that what he's talking about? Let me go back to that. Hold on. There's not that much here. Evidence shows an ideal. Yeah, IDEAL. Yeah. Noel's a writer, so he would notice something like that. Ideological, if you didn't know how to spell it, IDEOLOGICAL. Patel spelled it ideal, like, that's an ideal situation. No. Ideological. Let me read that one more time because it sums it up nicely, and it's exactly what Noel walked away with. I walked away from this with the same fucking thing. We shouldn't lose sight of the fact we have an FBI director who rushes to post a tweet from an active investigation and a fake-ass looking pic of some bullets with what looks like a Sharpie writing on them, not engraved, and thinks that ideological is spelled ideological. I miss having a serious country. It's way past that. I wish we could just make jokes like that. Like, we're not serious anymore. This is a joke. It'll be over in a few years. Oh, no. Again, the military on your streets, the camps, the masked men with machine guns kidnapping people who are under assault. Reality is inverted. And it ain't coming back anytime soon. Again, another kind of absurd shooting situation when the Reich puts their evidence forth in front of the public. It keeps looking ridiculous. Those text messages between the transgender roommate and Tyler, what's his name, Robinson? Very suspect, man. And the roommate's now just gone? We don't get to see him ever? No. That's convenient. And we get one bullet, nothing else. One bullet makes this an evil liberal that's part of the wave of current liberal or left-wing violence against the Reich. One bullet with Sharpie on it. Again, is supposed to be another big Reichstag moment. Again, when they actually show us what they have as evidence, it looks real bad. It seems very absurd. And that's why I wanted to focus on this, because this theater that they're putting on isn't even good theater. But again, they were going to implement all this shit anyway. And no one's going to stop them. I fucking wish. So I just wanted to do a quick video. I don't have a lot of time, people. I'm very sorry. I wish I could go into everything, but I just can't. And this situation really... These Reichstag moments, we really should take a minute and look at them. And really understand them. Because the second they happen, we got a narrative from the entire Reich that they're a left-wing psycho. Socialist, commie, Marxist, transgender. Remember the Tyler Robinson, there was transgender ideology on the bullets. No, there was a gay joke. If you look at this, you're gay, remember? There was no transgender ideology, so that was a lie, remember? Right off the bat, straight up lie. That was printed, published, passed on, billions of people across the planet saw. Still haven't seen the transgender or alleged transgender roommate. Now they've disappeared. Shit's looking real suspect. And again, it was another white kid. The guy that shot at Donnie was not a transgender, was not a liberal. The guy that shot Charlie Kirk was not a transgender, was not a liberal. This guy was not a transgender. The only thing that points to him being liberal again is a sharpied bullet. Now compare what I just told you to the narratives you've been getting from the Reich. As if these are Reichstag, left-wing, wave of left-wing violence moments again. Only prisoners were shot. That's it. So it appears the person wasn't there to shoot ICE agents. He was there to shoot immigrants. And indeed, that's what he did. 2 are dead. 1 is almost dead. No ICE got a scratch. Think about that and then think about what you saw today from the Reich and others, news channels, etc., about this shooting. And compare the difference. Because, my God. Again, I'm not seeing the wave of left-wing violence. I hear a lot of talk about it. I don't see it, though. I see white males grabbing rifles and shooting up the place. However they got there, doesn't matter. Million theories out there, people talking mind control, everything. Whatever, if that's the case, however they got there, I don't care. All I know is the narrative's been for a long time the biggest terror threat to this country since the 90s. Right-wing nationalism, survivalists, white males, people like that. And we've seen attack after attack by people like that. For the most part, the overwhelming majority. These 3 shootings specifically, again, all 3 white guys, not the people you hate. Yet you're blaming it on the people you hate. And so is the Reich. And I guess I'll say, the people you hate aren't going to be the only ones suffering in this monstrosity before us. Where every shooting is immediately painted by them as some part of some wave of left-wing violence when I haven't seen any left-wing ties to any of these people. Again, the Sharpie bullet's the only big evidence. I don't know what else to say. It's just ridiculous. I gotta go. Have a wonderful day, everyone.